This is the issue, and I am the ghetto man. Today's issue, separation of powers. A brief outline of the original intent of our nation's founding fathers. Our government is divided into three separate branches of government: the legislative, the judicial, and the executive branch. Now, each branch operates independent of the other two branches. The legislative branch is divided into two parts: the House of Representatives and the Senate. The House of Representatives serves as a check on the Senate. You see, no statute can become law without the approval of the House. Now, simultaneously, the Senate serves as the check on the House of Representatives. You see, without the Senate's approval, no statute can become law as well. Now, this is how it worked prior to the ratification of the 17th Amendment in 1913, when senators were elected by the state legislature and not elected by the people. What the 17th Amendment actually did is it politicized the Senate. And as I said, prior to 1913, senators were elected by the state legislature. And this is a very important check and balance. When a senator was not behaving properly, not doing his job constitutionally, the states could rein him or her in and elect somebody more qualified to do the job. And if the state's Senate was electing U.S. senators that were not beholden to the Constitution, the people could vote the state senators out and vote in people that were more qualified constitutionally to do the job at the state level. But today, a U.S. senator is elected by the people. And if that senator violates his or her oath of office, well, impeachment is, I think, just about the only remedy we have other than filing criminal charges against them, which rarely ever happens. Today, political parties now control the senators, not the states and not the people of the states. And that's why we have the Chucky Shysters and the nasty Petalosis that are now destroying our constitutional republic. It's nearly impossible to get rid of them, no matter how much unconstitutional mischief they create. The 17th Amendment must be repealed. Now, the president has the power to veto a bill. Now, with this power, the president can restrain both the House of Representatives and the Senate and send any bill not meeting his approval back to Congress. Now, Congress can check the president by its authority to pass a bill over the president's veto with a vote of 2/3 of the majority of each house. Congress can further check the president with its power to withhold funds for the operation of the executive branch. The president, when filling high offices within the executive branch, must get approval of the Senate. And before any treaty with a foreign country can go in effect, the president must get the approval of the Senate. Congress has the authority to investigate the executive branch to determine whether or not the funds allocated to it are being used properly and to ensure the laws are enforced. Now, the executive branch can check Congress by using its discretionary power to establish things like military bases, the building of border walls, building of dams, interstate highways, those sort of things. And the president can use the money that is allocated to the military for the things that are necessary to keep our nation and our borders safe. The judicial branch checks the legislature with its authority to review. And it's important, review, not interpret, but to review all laws and to determine their constitutionality. The judiciary cannot create law, case or otherwise. Creating law is the job of the legislator. The judiciary jurisdiction is limited to constitutional application of the law only. It has no authority to legislate law from the bench whatsoever. In fact, the judiciary is the weakest branch of all three. The courts have no independent authority to enforce their orders. If a court issues an order that violates the Constitution, the executive branch is under no obligation to enforce it. Congress has the power to restrain the judiciary by restricting the extent of its jurisdiction. Congress also has the power to impeach the president and any federal judge who is guilty of treason, high crimes, or misdemeanors. The president can check the judiciary by using its power to nominate new judges, but Congress has the power to check those nominations. And all nominations are subject to the approval of the Senate. Congress can further restrain the judiciary with its control over the appropriations, funds, money, for the operation of the entire federal court system. Congress has the power to propose amendments to the Constitution, which must be approved by 3/4 of the states, and if approved, can, and oftentimes do, affect the other two branches of government as well. You see, Congress holds the purse strings to the other two branches, and they cannot operate without that money. Congress can, by a joint resolution, terminate certain powers granted to the president by them and can do so without his consent. An example would be the War Powers Act. Congress can terminate that power anytime it chooses. Now, by our power to vote, we the people have the power to check our congressmen every 2 years, and to check the power of the president every 4 years, and our senators every 6 years. And the final check and balance that we, the people, have is if all three branches of government fail, all jurisdiction and all power falls back on the states and or we the people. You see, we the people have the right and the duty to alter and abolish any forms of government that is operating contrary to the mandates of the United States Constitution. And with that, I am the Ghetto Man. Thank you for watching. If you're politically correct, then you're legally wrong. And if you're not part of the solution, then you are the problem. Please subscribe to my channel, and please share.